Firstly, you're talking about the Denver Nuggets, a team that fired their general manager and head coach the final week of the regular season. So the expectations are vastly different for these two teams coming into the postseason.
All the pressure in the world is in Oklahoma City. I cannot believe they didn't close out Denver when they had the opportunity. And now you get a rested Denver Nuggets team, which is something that has not happened since April 29th. They finally get 2 days off after playing every other day since April 29th. Adelman said after the game he didn't know if the guys were excited because they get a day off or because they're going to Game 7. So now you have the best player in the world, an activated Jamal Murray, a team that has won a title, has that muscle memory, knows how to close out games. Oh, and by the way, they're going to be rested. That could have been a fatal flaw for this Oklahoma City team to not close them out earlier.
You said activated Jamal Murray. Last night he was sick all day. And then last night he had 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. He has maybe one of the most unique careers you'll ever see in your life. When you think of Jamal Murray, what do you think of? Great player.
Playoffs,
co-star with Jokic. You know he's never been an all-star?
Yes.
It's the weirdest thing. This guy is like, you feel so comfortable with him in those big moments. You love him next to Jokic. He was awful at times early on this season. And now you're like, oh, they got Jamal Murray. Like, he'll figure it out with Jokic. They'll be good. You know Aaron Gordon will be totally fine in a Game 7. I know he didn't have the best game last night. Julian Strawther off the bench was great for them with 15 points.
Yeah.
But, like, he's just one of these guys you trust in a big game. The Nuggets have a lot of those because we have proof of concept. The Thunder, as you mentioned, don't have a lot of those guys, yet they were so much better than everybody else all year. I think this is one of the easiest arguments to make, regardless of the side you're on. If you think Oklahoma City's going to win Game 7, you have so many arguments to make. If you think Denver's going to win Game 7, you have so many arguments to make. So when you're saying the pressure and who has to win, they both have to win. Breaking news, Game 7. Breaking news.
Only one team can advance to the conference finals.
And they both have to win.
Oh, wait. Shams has reported Game 7's a must-win.
For both teams.
Both teams.
Wow.
Can't lose.
That is incredible.
Wait,
I don't know. I don't have a second source on this. Hold up. Wait. Woj has come out of reporting retirement to actually report. Live from St. Bonaventures. Game 7. Must win. You heard it here. Third. So which team has to win more if we're going to do that? Which team has more pressure on them? You're saying Oklahoma City, even though Jokic is a champion, and winning two puts you in rarefied air.
I don't think it's close. I think Oklahoma City has so much more pressure on them than Denver. Yes, of course, Denver, it's a must-win, as you just reported, Evan, live here on Sportscenter. I'm confirming, too. It is a must-win, too, for Denver. But
Small says it also.
When you have the best player in the world in Jokic, and he's already won, first of all, winning buys you a little bit more grace. But you just always assume that because you have that guy on the floor, you're going to be back there. And even though this is a very talented Oklahoma City team with all the talent that's in the West, if they can't break through this season, just like we did heading into these playoffs, we're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. We're not going to expect them to advance. We're still going to say this is a group that is yet to take the next step. And when you have a guy in SGA that's the likely MVP, this is what you do. You assert yourself in a game like this. You assert yourself in the playoffs in Game 7. So I think all the pressure in the world is on Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when you look at OKC, they are the deeper team by far. I mean, last night you had 9 guys with double-figure minutes. 7 of those guys played 20 minutes or more. So this is a team, this is an organization, a coaching staff that trusts all of these guys to be in the game in those consequential moments. Conversely, when you look at the Denver Nuggets, they're dealing with stuff. Jamal Murray was sick last night. Aaron Gordon had the hamstring injury. Now, he insists that he's going to play in Game 7. We'll see what happens.
That guy will play through anything.
Yeah.
Sure, he'll play through anything, but how effective will he be? I mean, last night he wasn't. I mean, last night the guy had 5 points. Now, he did come up with some plays that don't show up in the stat sheet, a lot of deflections, being able to lead out, get the run-outs for fast breaks, things of that nature. But, like, it's no excuses for the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is a vulnerable Denver Nuggets team, even though they have the best player in the world. OKC earlier on in this series has figured out ways to be able to slow down Jokic, mitigate his impact on the game. Last 2 games, not so much. Can they get back to that same game plan defensively? Can Chet Holmgren continue to assert himself like we saw last night? A guy that stepped up in a big way, double-double, took advantage of some one-on-one opportunities against Jokic on the offensive end. So there's a lot to like when it comes to talent from this OKC team, but they come up a little light when it comes to experience, and this is their first time in a moment like this. And so I think it's fair to ask the question of how this team is going to respond. Now, I think it's worth noting that OKC has only lost back-to-back games twice this season, once in November and once in April. So the expectation for all of us should be that OKC should be advancing to the conference finals, but we can't dismiss Nikola Jokic because he is a champion. We can't dismiss Jamal Murray because he is a champion. So I think that's what makes this Game 7 really fascinating.
All right, there are 4 teams remaining in this round, okay? Obviously, Indiana, Minnesota, they have advanced to the next round. Pressure rankings of you have to win the next game because 3 of these teams are in an elimination game. Knicks are the only one who's not. If you take those 4 teams, pressure rankings, Knicks and the Celtics tonight, ESPN Radio, the most pressure of the 4 teams to win the next game they play is?
I still think it's the Knicks.
Even though they're the one who's not facing elimination.
At Madison Square Garden, you let the defending champs without Jason Tatum win 2 games in a row with you to push it to Game 7. Yikes. I think about that organization and how long they waited for this. I think about what that crowd's going to be like. I think about how much pressure will be on them in Game 7 if they lose. I don't know.
Okay, so Knicks for you, that's wild to me. They're the only one.
I know.
They're the only one that doesn't face elimination.
I understand that. But
Thunder, Nuggets, Celtics all face elimination.
Okay, but the Nuggets have won. The Thunder, you could always say young team. You know what I mean? You could default. Celtics have won too.
That's interesting.
And who's the least? Who's like house
Celtics
money?
without Tatum?
House money.
They just won last year.
Okay.
Forget it.
CC, what about you?
Oh, it's OKC.
Okay, of the 4 teams, the next game they play, Oklahoma City has the most pressure to win the next game they play.
I'm looking at the odds on ESPN Bet to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy to win the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder are plus 110. The next shortest odds are the Minnesota Timberwolves at plus 475. The Denver Nuggets don't show up. They're at plus 900. The only team that has longer odds to win the title than the Denver Nuggets are the Boston Celtics.
So Thunder most.
The Thunder is most.
Who's playing with the closest to house money?
Oh, the closest to house money is the Celtics.
Okay.
And then I would say the Knicks slide in there too. So I would go Thunder, Knicks, Nuggets, Celtics.
So based on pressure to win right now,
Yeah.
the conference finals should be Knicks, Pacers, Thunder, Wolves.
Yes.
Right? Both of you are saying
Yes.
that? Based on you better win this next game. Obviously, it's an elimination game for 3 of them. Or else, Knicks, Thunder. Or Thunder, Knicks.
But I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it though.
The Knicks have a game in hand.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But the Knicks were up 3-1.
Yep.
And arguably the best player for the Boston Celtics and somebody that is viewed as a top 5 player in the sport got hurt.
Correct.
He's out. You were up 3-1. You've got how many chances? 3 more chances to close this thing out.
And you're at home.
And you're at home for one of those opportunities.
And we saw a team do that.
If you don't capitalize on that,
yeah,
then all of a sudden we got a lot of questions about you. Same thing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. If they don't capitalize on Game 7 building against the Denver Nuggets, again, a team that fired their general manager and head coach before the playoffs even started, if you don't beat those people after the season that you just had, then all of a sudden anything you do moving forward in the regular season does not matter. We put the Hardenville playoff choke moniker on the entire franchise until you break through and get it done.
To that point, while I think the Knicks are going to be fine. While I don't fully agree, I think the other case in point here is that the Knicks need to do what the T-Wolves just did. The T-Wolves went up against a team, their best player gets hurt, and the T-Wolves are like, well, cool, we're going to finish this off before this guy can come back. Tatum's not coming back, but Curry was going to come back. They finished it off. They got the job done. They won the games in a row. They never let them back in the series. The Knicks have an opportunity to do that tonight.
So you don't put the Hardenville label on the Oklahoma City Thunder after what we saw last year, and then if they choke it away
they have the
this
most
year?
pressure. They have to win. They have to win. I agree with you. I agree on that. To me,
okay.
In order of who has to win their next game the most, the Knicks are last because they're the only team with the game in hand. Thunder.
So you feel
Thunder, Nuggets, Celtics, Knicks.
feel really confidently that the Knicks can go on the road in Game 7 and win in Boston.
I do.
Wait,
okay.
you put the Celtics
right,
above the Knicks?
In terms of pressure to win? They will be eliminated if they lose tonight. How is that not pressure to win?
They lost their best player and they won last year.
Hello, xin chào tất cả các bạn. Lại là mình đây. Mình sẽ gửi đến các bạn những sản phẩm cắt dán đẹp hơn mỗi ngày. Những sản phẩm tuyệt vời. Đấy, cốc trà sữa này. Đây trên tay của mình đây là keo dán giấy này các bạn ạ. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm để tạo ra được những video cắt dán đẹp như thế này thì mình sẽ cần có những dụng cụ, những đồ vật để mình tạo nên. Đây trước mặt của mình đây, trên tay mình đang cầm đây là những giấy thủ công màu các bạn ạ. Nó rất nhiều màu sắc luôn, các bạn có nhìn thấy màu sắc của nó. Đấy. Trên tay của mình đây cầm đây màu xanh này, màu xanh là lá cây, màu vàng này các bạn ạ. Đây là màu đỏ. Đấy. Giấy màu cam này, giấy màu xanh này. Đấy. Mình rất nhiều những sản phẩm màu sắc. Đấy. Và để tạo ra được những sản phẩm đẹp và ý nghĩa thì mình cần có một cây bút và chiếc kéo này, kéo để cắt này, hồ dán để dán những sản phẩm vào với nhau để cho nó đa dạng màu sắc và tạo nên điểm nhấn cho sản phẩm. Và còn những dụng cụ bổ trợ cho mình như là đây là chiếc chân kẹp điện thoại này. Chân kẹp điện thoại, đây chiếc điện thoại để mình quay lại quá trình mình tạo ra video. Đèn hỗ trợ ánh sáng này các bạn này. Đèn hỗ trợ ánh sáng. Và kênh của mình thì cũng rất may mắn đã nhận được nút bạc từ YouTube các bạn này. Chiếc nút bạc này mình cũng đã nhận được quãng thời gian gần đây rồi. Đó là thành quả của mình nha. Thành quả rất chi là mỹ mãn các bạn này. Khi mình tạo ra những sản phẩm thật là viral đây. Sau khi mình cắt dán xong video, mình sẽ tải video lên máy tính của mình nha. Trên máy tính của mình thì có phần mềm Camtasia để chỉnh sửa. Mình sẽ ưu tiên chỉnh sửa trên Camtasia. Sau khi mình edit và chỉnh sửa xong thì mình sẽ xuất ra thôi, xuất ra và đăng lên kênh cho các bạn xem. Các bạn hãy chào đón những video đẹp và tuyệt vời để gửi tặng tất cả các bạn nha. Đấy. Đấy, trời. Đây. Đấy. Đây là hồ dán này. Đấy. Phải không? Sắc luôn. Và bây giờ mình sẽ mời các bạn đi xem mình tạo ra những sản phẩm này nha. Đây những sản phẩm tiêu biểu của mình này. Mình vẫn còn lưu trữ lại tại nơi làm việc này. Đấy. Rất chi là đẹp. Các bạn hãy cùng theo dõi mình tạo ra sản phẩm nha.
Nó quan trọng gì anh xem. Với lại cái bạn